What's up, guys? My name is Robert Alexander, and this is Hair Therapy. If this is your first time tuning in, I am a hairstylist of nearly 15 years, and within the last few years, I have niched down to being a wig maker and extensions specialist. Hair therapy was created because I've noticed a lack in the professional side of hairstyling. So we are in an age where we have tons and tons of extremely talented hairstylists on Instagram and TikTok, but I'm noticing that they are sometimes lacking the soft skills and the tools needed to elevate the experience for the customer. In today's episode, I want to talk about boundaries. This is a topic that's going to be important for both clients and stylists, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think about it. So let's get started. So I want to start with a story that dates back probably about 13 years ago when I was a very, very new hairstylist. Before I had my own client base, I worked as an assistant for a couple years. At the 2-year mark is when I started to build my own clientele. And if you're a stylist, you know what the process is like when you don't really have a client base and you're kind of in this space of like taking whatever you can get. I went so far as to even offer lashes. This is before we had like lash extensions. This was just a little Ardell. And I was like, I'll do your hair, I'll do your lashes, like just come to me, please. And that's a key point to this story because I was in a space of, I was hungry, I was desperate, I needed to build my clientele. And so I started to do so. And one day I had a lady walk in who wanted a quick weave, and I had done them in the past. They were really nice. I had photographed them. They were on my Instagram, but I wasn't knowledgeable. It wasn't something that I did regularly, and I was only a year old on my own as a stylist. And so she comes in, and what made this particular client so unique is that she had lost her hair due to maybe traction alopecia. Something had happened where she lost her hair, and she was very particular about the way that her hair looked. And she had a previous stylist, but for whatever reason, maybe he moved out of town or something happened where she was in a bind and she needed her hair done. So she walked in there and she found me. Now at this point, I'm at a salon where everyone works very, very early. So oftentimes I'm there alone. And so I had no guidance. And that being said, she and I have a brief consultation of, what she needs. And in hindsight, I can recognize that her energy was very tense, very strong, very domineering. And since then, I've learned how to navigate that type of energy. But in the moment, I'm just like, yes, come on. Let me give you what you need. And so I start off with this quick weave. And she's like, oh, and I need it really, really flat. She's super duper self-conscious. She doesn't want it to look, like it's a quick weave. Obviously, since then, we have technology like closures and lace that look so natural that would have been a viable option for her now. But at the time, this technology wasn't out yet. So we're just doing gluing tracks in a circle. This is the first time I've ever heard of splitting tracks. And so she tells me how to do it. And I end up using the razor that's inside of a razor comb. And if you're familiar with that, you know that those razors are really soft and flimsy. And me trying to split these tracks, I was like literally cutting my hands. It wasn't like bleeding, but I was cutting my hands trying to get this right. And her energy is becoming more and more aggressive. She's like pushing me, like, you better get this right. So there's the pressure that I'm putting on myself. There's the pressure she's putting on me. And there's also trying to keep a certain image, even though I have cuts on my hands. I know this is all ridiculous, but I was so young as a stylist, God bless me. And long story short, I finish her hair to the very best of my ability, and she tears me apart. This is the first time in my career that I cry. And it was devastating. I never felt so belittled. I never felt so weak. I never felt like such a failure in my life. And so I just cried. I was so frustrated and so angry at her and angry with myself. I was writing myself really hard. And I say all of that to say, specifically to new stylists today, that all money is not good money. And it's important to know when to hold them and when to fold them. And I do encourage everyone to try new things, but there are safe ways to do it, and maybe not with a paying customer. That's one part of it. But also, and I speak about this explicitly on both Instagram and TikTok, it's very key to use your discernment in knowing if you are a good match for a customer and if they are a good match for you. And in the very beginning, she gave me all the red flags, but they always do. Just like your raggedy ex, right? He gave you them red flags, but we bypassed them. And I'm gonna do a shameless plug for a book I really enjoy. Blink by Malcolm Gladwell talks about that, and I'll put the link for that below. That moment, that was the moment, and I hate that it had to be so hard for me, but that was the moment I realized from this point forward, I'm doing what I can do. I'm not doing what I don't do. I'm not a quick weave stylist. This is not my lane. Even though at that point I hadn't niched down, this isn't something I'm even close to familiar with. And the fact that I had no one around me probably wasn't the best time to take that on. I should have waited until I had a colleague available to assist me. And so it was a really difficult, one of the most difficult lessons of my career, but I'm glad it happened early on because I think that that's very key. And that's something that a lot of people are not executing today. And every single day a brand new stylist is born, so this information will never be old or expired or antiquated or irrelevant. But it's extremely important to know what you want to do as a stylist. And if you're not strong at something, practice on your auntie, practice on your cousin, practice on your best friends, practice on your sisters. It's better to fail with family than to fail with someone who's going to give you bad energy, who's going to speak against your name. So here we are now, 13 years later. I'm nearly 15 years into my career, and the discernment is strong in this one now. I am blessed to be in a space where I get to choose who is a candidate for me and who isn't. And that is what we all strive for, freedom, right? And so I speak about a lady that I encountered just a month ago at Nordstrom Rack, and that's on my TikTok, which I'll also link below. And within the first 2 minutes of speaking with her, I knew it was not a match. Bless her heart, I really did feel bad about it, and I speak about that in the TikTok video as well. But before I knew what was happening, my discernment had already spoken for me and decided this was a no-go. We're not doing that. Right now, I'm in my space. This is my studio. And if the energy isn't right, how dare I share this space with you? Why would I do that? And I think that not only should more stylists think that way, but also clients, you have just as much of a right to feel that way. It's more to the experience than just executing good hair. If you don't have a relationship or a connection with the person, why would you let them touch your crown? And so that's the sort of conversation that I want to have with you guys with hair therapy. It is very important for us to follow our intuition and connect with ourselves to know who is a match and who isn't a match, because that is the first factor and decision maker for what that relationship is going to look like. If you've made it to this point, please comment below with some of your craziest experiences as a client. And if you're a stylist, stay tuned because I want to talk to you about my school. So I've created a program called the 5-Star Stylist, which speaks to soft skills, discernment, language, scheduling, efficiency, and beyond, to teach stylists how to level up in this beautiful industry that we're in, to create a beautiful experience for not only us, but also for our clients. If you're interested, click the link below. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and this was Hair Therapy.